What's up, everybody? Welcome back to our channel.
I'm Connor.
And I'm Sydney. And you're on the Connor and Sydney channel.
So today we're going to be talking about should I change for my spouse?
First, we're just going to cover that we just went to the gym. Connor said if we don't make a video right now, at this exact moment, we're not making one. So that's why we look like this. Don't mind that. But yeah, we're just going to get into it. Should I change for my spouse? So I'm going to let you start off with what you think, because I think most people think the answer is obvious, but I think it goes a little deeper than what most people think.
Yeah. Yes.
You think so?
Yeah. To a certain degree.
Okay, so in the past, like before we were together, I probably would have said kind of the opposite, like what most girls, or honestly what most people say nowadays. Like there's really a point being made that like nobody should change who you are or what kind of person you are or the things you do, and if anybody's trying to do that, then they're just controlling. And I used to kind of agree with that, but I guess now, like, he's really shown me that if you don't like compromise and do things that that are showing respect and honor to your spouse, then it's just really not going to work out, because you're just going to have two people that always think they're right and two people that are always doing exactly what they want, and the other person feeling disrespected, or the other person feeling like their opinion doesn't matter and that their feelings don't matter. So
Yep. I specifically remember that when I was younger, I told my grandpa, I remember we were in his barn or whatever, and I told him that I was never going to change for a girl, that if someone didn't like me, then they could see themselves out or whatever, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So.
And that's kind of how I was, I think, in college too. It was like, these are the things that I like, these are the things that I do, and if someone has a problem with it, then that's their problem, and I'm still gonna be me, like that whole type of thing. And I think that's always true to an extent. Like, you don't want to totally lose yourself in like the person you're dating and become someone that you never were, or like, I don't think that you need to be like finding all the things they need to fix and telling them they need to fix all those things and then expecting them to just change everything about them. Because there are some times when I have to remind myself, when I'm like asking Connor to change different things, I have to remember, like, this is the person that I fell in love with, and this is the person that, like, I loved him for those things before, and like I just have to kind of get over it when I'm like trying to fix all these little things about him that I want to be a specific way for me, like very selfishly. So you have to find that balance of like which things are actually need to be changed to like make your like marriage more successful, and then which things can you kind of let go and let them be their own person, because you don't need someone to be a mirror image of you. Like, I know sometimes I might want him to be just like me and do all the things exactly like I do, but if that's how he was when we started dating, then I probably wouldn't have fallen in love with him, because he wouldn't have his own creative, like, unique things about him.
So this isn't scripted so far or anything.
Yeah, I told him the topic as we started filming, after the camera was running. So
Okay, so what's one thing that I asked you to change?
So one thing is, you didn't always appreciate the clothes that I was wearing to the gym. Is that what you were thinking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And what did you do? How did you respond?
So that was one of those things that at first made me extremely angry, because I was like, you fell in love with me when I was wearing these kinds of things to the gym, and you didn't say anything about it back then, and it's always been fine. And I was like really into the fitness industry at the time, so to me it was like, I get on social media and I see a million other girls wearing these same kinds of clothes at the gym, so like, why do I have to change for you, and I can't be like all the other girls and stuff like that.
And in my defense, I guess, that was like great, dating somebody that looked like that. But after we got married, it was something where it's like, okay, well, like, I don't think my wife should be so revealing and things like that. So.
And that was something where, like, at first, I feel like in a lot of areas, if someone's asking you to change, you're just going to respond in a very defensive way. And so it wasn't something that just changed overnight and I was like, you're right, I'm going to like dress different at the gym or something. But it was something that over time, as my walk with the Lord changed, it was something that my heart decided I wanted to change. And then as I started changing and wanting to become more holy, I like started understanding where he was coming from, because I started changing like some of the things that I was wearing to the gym, And it made me understand, like, oh, this is why he wanted me to dress that way, and it wasn't just him like being controlling, like, you're not allowed to wear this, you're not allowed to wear this. Like, he was never like stopping me at the door, like, you're not leaving looking like that type of thing. But like, I understood why you didn't want me wearing those kinds of things anymore. What's something I've asked you to change?
So I used to dip. So, and I changed it. Well, so that was hard because it was an addiction. But
that wasn't something I like when we started dating. It was like, I love you even though you do this. It was like from the very start. I was like, that's disgusting, and if you don't change that, I probably don't want to be with you.
That was reasonable, I think. That was a reasonable request. I'd just kind of given up on changing for anybody or doing anything like that. So I was like, you know what? I hunt. I'm like outside all the time. If I'm
the whole "this is who I am" type of thing.
Yeah.
This is who I've
So I
always
was like,
been.
I'm gonna dip and I'll do whatever I want. I'll drink as much as I want. And then when we started dating, I was like, okay, well, that's not probably very attractive. So.
And it's like when he kept doing those things that I obviously didn't want him to do, it's like made me more aware of how it must make him feel when I like don't respect the things that he wants me to do or doesn't want me to do. Because I didn't like it when I was asking him to change something and he was like, absolutely not, like, this is who I am. It made me feel really disrespected, so I could see where he was coming from a little better. And I think one of the main things that I've changed over time and I understand a lot better now is like when people message me on social media, I've always thought I don't want to be like rude or offend anybody by not replying. And a lot of these people, it's just guys literally just trying to make conversation. So they might ask a question that's like, I don't know. I always felt like it's harmless for me to just respond to like meaningless questions and stuff like that. But when I could tell he didn't like it that I was even responding, he was never like controlling, like, you better not respond or anything like that. But I knew that he didn't appreciate me responding to people. And my responses were very,
To the point.
yeah, they were very to the point, like short, like one word, like that kind of thing. But at this point now, I like always ask myself, I'm like, whose opinion matters more to me? Like, will I care more if he feels disrespected and if he's bothered by me talking to other guys or having a conversation with other guys on social media? Then like that's gonna bother me a whole lot more than somebody else who I barely know or don't know that gets offended by me not replying. So I've just stopped caring like what other people think as much and compromising more with the things that you ask me to do or hope for me to do.
I think social media is a big one. So for us, like I think yesterday, I always tell her like, oh, so and so just tried to add me, but yesterday like 2 girls tried to add me on Snapchat, and as soon as I opened Snapchat, I saw that, and she was sitting across the living room from me, and I said, oh, 2 girls just tried to add me on Snapchat. And I like didn't accept their request or whatever, but yeah, I still got it, I guess. I'm just kidding. But
I think it just helps when when he tells me stuff like that, I don't mind as much as if these things were happening behind my back and he never wanted to tell me. So like the more transparent we are with each other, the more trust we have in each other. And so like I'll tell him sometimes too, I'll be like, hey, so-and-so just asked me about whatever, and I'll be like, do you want me to respond or do you care if I respond? And I can usually tell by his response to me on whether or not he feels okay about that. And yeah, I just think it's important to like compromise and respect that.
One for us is girls in the office at my work, but it's like, so I don't text or message or anything, any girl that's like outside of my family. But there's my work is very involved with like the office. So there's a lot of phone calls and emails and stuff like that that go back and forth. And I always make sure that I'm transparent. She has like full access to my work phone. She has full access to my phone. And I think that just really helps to keep things transparent, as if she knows that she can just like go through my phone, or if she wanted to, which I don't think she really ever has, but sometimes I'll just be like, oh yeah, use my work phone if she is like trying to record something, and if her phone's out of like data or space or whatever.
Yeah, that does always make me feel like I can trust you, knowing that you're so willing to like pass up your phone at any given moment.
And I think at this point it would be very obvious if I said, oh no, don't use my work phone, or if I tried to stop her doing something. She always tells me about like guys at the gym, if anybody like talks to her, or if she's like taking the dog for a walk and anybody says anything. most of the time it's just like older guys being creepy and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But
I'm at the point though where it does give me anxiety if people are like if someone comes up and hits on me or something, because I know at that moment I'm like, I know I'm gonna go home and tell Connor about this, because like it'd be easy if that just happened and I was like, oh, like walk away feeling good about myself and never say anything to him. But it's harder for guys to hit on you and you to respond to it knowing that like I'm gonna go home and talk to my husband about this later, because you're like, I don't want any part in that. Like I don't want to explain this situation to him. So like us staying transparent with each other and telling each other like everything that happens, I think also like builds that boundary outside of like when we're together.
And I actually didn't tell you about this, but when I was running today, so
Hey.
this is like how unused to I am to like having conversations with women that I don't know. But this girl asked if I had a key card to get into the pool, and I just like stuttered a bunch because I was like, oh.
That's always me too. I seem so nervous around guys. I'm like,
Yeah, like I'm just like so.
We've like broken ourselves from that, so now it feels weird.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, and I just like ran over there and opened it for her, but.
Yeah. Another thing I can think of, see, this just proves like I was never asked to do this, but I like have enough respect now for how he feels to like change certain things. He never asked me specifically to delete all my exes from like Facebook and stuff like that. But I did it because I knew that it would bother him if he knew that, and I didn't leave any relationship ever on bad terms. So it was like I was still friends with all these people. So I felt bad to like unfollow everybody knowing that like, oh my gosh, they might think that now like I hate them, or they might think something bad, like I don't know, you know what I mean? But I just went through and deleted them anyway, because I was like, you know what, that is kind of weird. And so I was like, you know what, I know that he doesn't want me to follow them, even though there's nothing to it. So just like out of respect for him, I went through and unfollowed these people, because I care more about his feelings now than what I do for other people's feelings, especially those people who like mean nothing in my life and I don't talk to ever. So it's like, why would I care so much about their feelings over my spouse that I'm living my life with as a team?
And I think that's the biggest thing to get out of this is like, what do you value more? Do you value your husband's relationship more over some random person on Facebook?
Yeah. Like, are you always defending them? Like, well, I don't want to offend them. I don't want to like.
But at the same time, you're offending your spouse. So
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing, especially with other people or relationships, is you gotta like weigh which one. Maybe your spouse had never said anything about it, but if you think maybe that they wouldn't like it, you need to like value what they would think.
Because I think every time that you don't do what you know like bothers them, or you don't fix those things that you know that they wouldn't appreciate, it just shows you like what you're valuing most. And if you value your spouse the way that you should, and you're living each day to like serve each other properly and put each other before yourself, then I think there are things that you're gonna need to change, because you recognize that they don't appreciate them and you no longer want to do those things that bother your spouse.
Yeah, and I think that's one of those things that internally can either build up your relationship or degrade your relationship, even if you and your spouse aren't communicating. Like, oh, I didn't talk to this person, or oh, I talked to this person for an extra few minutes when I didn't need to, or like cutting it off when there's nothing else to be said. That's one of those things that you can kind of gauge yourself on. So yeah, it's either edifying or it'll tear it down.
Mm-hmm. And I do think you need to be really careful about this whole topic though, because you don't want to just now look at it as like, oh yeah, I should be able to change things about my spouse and he should appreciate it enough to like change things about him. Like, you get what I'm saying, where it's like, I shouldn't look at it though as like, I want to change all these things about Connor and I want to fix him and make him into this perfect picture that I have of a husband, because no spouse is ever going to be that for you. So you have to kind of like still let them be them, and
Yeah, it has to be something that both people like want to do.
yeah.
You can't really force it, but I think that if you let your spouse know what bothers you, or like kind of throw hints, you don't have to be like, oh, that needs to change, but like, oh, I'm not a big fan of that, or
Yeah.
Would you like it if I did that, or that sort of thing.
Or like, it makes me feel this way when you do that. And then even if at the moment they don't change it, usually later on they'll start to understand. So don't expect like immediate changes or something, but like it usually has to be internal, like the change, because like some of the things that you wanted me to change, it took a little bit for me to walk with the Lord in a certain way that like I started changing, and then I understood why you asked certain things of me. So yeah, I think it's all about compromise, and you and your spouse should always be looking to make the other person happy and be the best for each other that you can be. Because if you're just going to keep always doing your own thing and saying, this is just who I am, just deal with it, this is the way I am, then I can assume that you'll have a lot of arguments and maybe things won't run as smoothly as they could.
Thanks everybody for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Comment down below if there are things in your marriage that you've changed or felt the need to change since you've been married. Otherwise, remember that what God thinks about you is way more important than what the world thinks about you. We'll see you guys soon.
See ya.
Bye.